Rooster Teeth News is brought to you by NatureBox. Snack smarter with French toast granola, sweet blueberry almonds, and more. Get 50% off your first order when you visit naturebox.com/roosterteeth.
What's up, guys? I'm Ashley Jenkins, and unfortunately, today's news starts off on a sad note. Layoffs have hit BioShock Infinite developer Irrational Games in a big way, as studio chief Ken Levine wants to refocus the studio's efforts. He says, "While I'm deeply proud of what we've accomplished together, my passion has turned to making a different kind of game than we've done before. To meet the challenge ahead, I need to refocus my energy on a smaller team with a flatter structure and a more direct relationship with gamers. In many ways, it will be a return to how we started, a small team making games for the core gaming audience." As a result, Irrational Games is essentially shutting down in its current form, and all but 15 developers will be laid off. The BioShock franchise that the studio has been so well known for will be handed over to 2K, who will be in charge of any future installments in the series. Irrational Games was formed in 1997 by former Looking Glass developers Ken Levine, Jonathan Che, and Rob Vermeer, and published its first game as a studio, System Shock 2, in 1999. The studio's real breakout hit was 2007's BioShock. The third entry in the series, BioShock Infinite, launched last March, and the final story-based DLC for that title, Burial at Sea Episode 2, will launch on March 25th. In brighter news, Sony has announced that PlayStation 4 has passed 5.3 million units sold worldwide, and they've celebrated with a new firmware update that adds support for various wireless stereo headsets and other tweaks. And they've also revealed new gameplay details for the upcoming PS4 exclusive supernatural thriller, The Order 1886. The developer, Ready at Dawn, has faithfully recreated a heavily industrialized 19th century London, complete with soot, dirt, and unsolved Jack the Ripper murders. Well, except for a few fantastical variations on history. Studio chief Ru Wirasuria admits airships didn't exist in 1886, but they're fun. You play a member of the Order, charged with protecting humanity from supernatural creatures known as half-breeds, but you'll also find yourself facing off against enemies of the fully human variety known as the Rebellion, who see the Order as part of the system of oppression keeping the poor and downtrodden, well, poor and downtrodden. In addition to air-faithful weapons, you'll also have a few more fantastical ones at your disposal. Some shoot arcs of electricity, others expel spouts of fire, and another unleashes a concussive blast of air. Wirasuria says that though they didn't exist, they are grounded in reality. He explains these weapons did not exist, but every piece of it, the research pulled from things that existed at the time. They're also looking at ways to mix up the traditional third-person shooter gameplay with seamless moves between gunplay and hand-to-hand combat, and the game will feature a branching version of QuickTime events. The developers have also done a lot of work to make the transition between gameplay and cutscenes utterly seamless, and are leaning hard on filmic cameras to complete the effect. Wirasuria says, "We wanted to build this filmic aspect to the game, from the atmosphere to the way we use cameras in the game, to make it more immersive." The game is expected later this year, though it doesn't have a release date yet, and this is the first the developers have shown since they announced the game at E3 last year. Finally, Valve's Gabe Newell has broken his silence on VAC, or the Valve AntiCheat system, after reports popped up over the weekend that the measures were looking through the browsing history of users and registering that information with Valve. In short, people were worried that Valve would know about their porn. However, Newell has explained that the measure is far more straightforward. Some cheat creators want to be paid for the use of their cheats, but have trouble getting aspiring cheaters to pay them, go figure. So they create their own DRM that checks in with the server to authenticate the cheat being used. What VAC looks for is these kinds of check-ins with a specific set of known servers. And actually, in the ongoing game of Beat the Cheat, this measure is already outdated. The cheat creators have begun modifying the DNS cache of their customers. Newell explains the real danger here is actually the careful erosion of trust between users and the anti-cheat measures. He says, "VAC is inherently a scary-looking piece of software because it is trying to be obscure. It is going after code that is trying to attack it, and it is sneaky. For most cheat developers, social engineering might be a cheaper way to attack the system than continuing the code arms race." He also goes on to state Valve's interest in your personal video collection. In short, he says, "Do we care what porn sites you visit? Oh dear God, no. My brain just melted." And that's the biggest news for today. Do you agree with Valve that cheating harms the majority more than it benefits the minority, and that the measures are justified? Or would you rather not trust obscure software to keep your games safe? Let us know in the comments. Then check roosterteeth.com tomorrow afternoon for a live stream of our gaming podcast, The Patch.